I still had his blood on my face when I stood up. Not mine, his, my father's. He didn't expect me to fight back. He raised his hand like he always did, swift, certain, like thunder off a dry sky, and I let it land. Once. That was all. Then I snapped. Calmly, quietly. "Touch me again," I said, wiping my lip, "and you'll lose more than your pride." He laughed, until the coffee mug shattered against his temple. That was the last time he ever laid hands on me. They called it a family meeting. I called it a sentence. Mom sat at the head of the table like a queen, but her crown was made of rotting tradition and cheap pearls. Dad flanked her, arms crossed, full of fury. And my brother, Jaden, smirked like the golden son he thought he was. "You're a girl," Mom snapped. "You serve him. That's your role." My role, as if I'd been born into servitude. As if I wasn't the one pulling straight A's, cooking dinner when she drank too much, covering up bruises from the last family meeting. "Do his laundry," she said, voice sharp, "or get out." So I got out. Not just from the house, from their game. It wasn't always like this. Jaden and I were close once. He was the boy who brought me mango ice pops after I scraped my knee. We played cards in secret, whispered jokes at night when our parents fought too loud to sleep. He used to protect me. But somewhere along the way, he realized the crown was heavier than it looked, and instead of sharing it, he chose to crush me beneath it. First, it was the small things. "You forgot to iron my shirt." Then it was demands. "Make my bed, now." Then it was silence. When Dad slapped me across the kitchen floor, Jaden didn't flinch. He just kept scrolling. That's when I knew. He wasn't my brother anymore. He was one of them. I planned everything in silence. They trained me for it, really. Taught me how to pretend, how to move without being noticed. While they barked orders, I learned systems. Their bank passwords, their secrets, their sins. I didn't scream, didn't beg. I just waited, calculated. Jaden was about to graduate. Dad pulled strings to get him into a job at the law firm. A family connection, they said. He didn't deserve it, but I knew someone who did. Me. The day of the confrontation, I wore white. A silent symbol, not of innocence, but of rebirth. I showed up to the firm before Jaden's interview. Documents in hand, receipts, video files, a timeline of every ugly thing they'd hidden, fraud, mistreatment, even tax evasion Dad thought he'd buried under fake names. The HR head's jaw dropped when I handed it over. "Why would you do this?" she asked. I smiled. Because they forgot I was watching. By the time Jaden walked in, his offer was revoked. The partner he was supposed to meet had already read my dossier. "Your sister just saved this firm from a lawsuit," she said flatly. "You're a liability." He froze. "You can't do this! She's lying!" I stepped into the room, calm, silent, a shadow given shape. "She's not lying," the HR head said. "She's better than you, and we're hiring her." He looked at me like I'd stabbed him, but I hadn't. Not yet. That night I returned to the house, not to stay, to speak. They were waiting, Mom, Dad, Jaden, rage in their eyes. But they didn't talk first. I did. I laid every card on the table. Their gambling debt, the offshore account, the assault charges I never filed, but had on video now. "You should have worshipped the girl who cooked your meals, cleaned your messes, covered your sins," I said. "You should have known," I added, eyes locked on my father, "that silence doesn't mean surrender." And finally to Jaden. "You were replaced before you even noticed." I didn't just walk out that night. I burned the legacy behind me. I took their connections, their respect, their illusions, legally, quietly, with evidence that could never be buried. Mom lost her job. Dad was under investigation. Jaden moved back in with them, unemployed, blaming me to anyone who'd listen. But no one believed him, because I'd already told the truth, on record, in interviews, to the people who mattered. No. I gave them everything. They gave me nothing. They raised a servant. I became a strategist. Now I wear suits instead of aprons. I sign checks instead of scrubbing floors. And every time I pass a mirror, I smile. Because the girl they tried to break, she's the woman who replaced their precious son and never looked back.